God needs to help.
Amen.
Because now, this is why one would, because if you look at prosperity gospel, you know that it is now money versus money. Give chakat, kuti uzowane chakat. That's what it is. Kuti, if you give me money, I will give you money. But what we need to know is what we have is Jesus.
Amen.
And the world needs that Jesus.
Amen.
Because Gehenna amazam, really.
Amen.
Gehenna, really. You know why kazhinji zvinzi munhu azvisungiriri anoenda straight kugehenna. Asvika at a point whereby ati hakuna Mwari. Because if you say there is God, they've been through so much pain that it is better kuti, I think it's a concept in America, forgot what it's called, whereby munhu vanoita zvaizvokumuraya because they've been through so much pain. Munhu anoti zviri nani hangu ndife pane to go through this, because asvika at a point whereby akuti there's nothing that can save. There's what?
Mercy killing.
Mercy killing. Kuti kuuraya kwauri kuita munhu uyu kumusunungura, because they're living in so much pain in their life.
Amen.
But this is why Mwari haazvidi on the basis yekuti you're saying now there is no longer anything that can actually save.
Amen.
You know, may God help.
Amen.
God needs to help. Kuti patru nama, and it's been a huge debate. How I know about it, I did a subject, genetics, because they're saying maybe takachinja DNA evanhu vakadaro, the pain then goes away. Kuti anotanga kutora maybe my personalities emumwe munhu and all that. It's a huge debate. But so there's always that question in my ethics, genetics. Kuti, is this right or is this wrong? Kuti munhu and so much, and you know what they do? You know, when you're in the lesson, animalezi munongodzidziswa munongo explain ipapo munotoradzwa mavhidhiyo emunhu ari painterview achitaura the amount of pain yaari kuenda through. Kuti I have to, and I've been living with this for 10 years, and this hoof. And every day I wake up, I say, dai nhasi ndangofa, dai nhasi ndangofa, dai nhasi ndangofa. So after you've seen that, uri munhu wenyama, if you see the video, I think hapana here, maybe muBhayibheri somewhere pazvinongonzi it is okay. But munhu iye anosvika at a point whereby anoti God cannot save you. Amen. Because Gehenna, let's look at Gehenna. Why munhu achiramba achitsva kuGehenna? Anoramba achitsva also because anenge achiti Mwari ndakamuramba. And because vanhu vanenge kuGehenna vanotozviziva kuti handichabudi. Anotozviziva kuti handichabudi. Because anenge achiti ndakaramba chacho chai maybe possibly chaigona kuzondisunungura. And then munhu oramba akadaro upenyu hwake hwese for everlasting, mweya wake uchingotamba. That pain doesn't end. Amen. Gehenna riri. Let us not ngatisanamate vanhu tichingoti ndingoponeswa even ndakangokundikana ndizvozvo unoenda kuGehenna. Unoenda. This is why every time totizira kuna Mwari tichiti save me from this which is everlasting. I would rather ndiregedze kuramba Mwari ndiri panyika yake. Because God is fair. Munhu mumwe nemumwe anoponeswa naMwari, regardless of the condition yaaponeswa ari, they are given enough faith to enter the kingdom of God.
Amen.
This is why Paul then says, when he realized this, he says, munhu mumwe nemumwe anopiwa chiero chakasiyana chekutenda, so that they can enter the kingdom of heaven. This is why he then says, our gifts must operate in proportion to our faith. Because it is our faith in order to pinza mushe wa Mwari. Sometimes our gifts, if we have greater gifts, our trials and tribulations, they are also greater. But munhu akadaro, mumwe anozoti, yes, ane chipo, dzenguva chekuprofita, ane chipo chekuevangelize, ane chipo chekuparidza. Zvanzi, but izvi zvazomira zvanga zvakanyanya. Kana inini ndaisagona kuzvimiririra. Because you don't have the faith. But munhu uyu, they have the faith. And akundikana on the basis yekuti aramba Mwari. Because if you one wasvika at a point, and this is everyone, kuti my debates are, especially with the new courses, you look at engineering, my genetics, so on, neuroscience, whatever, zvinobuditsa kuti Mwari haasife. At the core of it, those people who study these things, you'll realize kuti zvirungoda kungopungwa kuti Mwari haasife. That's all. And the moment you stand and you say, God is not fair, wakumira uchiti, rega ndichicorrecta now the unfairness of God upon mankind. And then this is why we invent these things. Tichiti, like, what's this, mercy killing. Uchiti, God is not fair. And then now I want to bring justice I want to give justice to this person on the basis yekuti I can bring fairness to mankind. So all these subjects, because but even takada kuita kunge mapostori, we still need God to save. Even takati hatichaenda kuchikora tanga mapostori tizonyasofamba zvakadai tanika keji kedu imomo munenge muchiunzwa chikafu and all that, we still need to be saved. Amen. The problem of now going to that extreme, unopesera wakuti I don't need God to save. Because unongochiti turungomuraramira, turungoita zvakanaka. And then womuka makuseni wojamba maybe my prayers and all that, wobva wangoti but handitagara kuno hapana vakadzi vandichazombochiwa and all that, saka ndonamatiri because I am fine. May God help. Amen. All extremes of the world, they put mumun kuti I am fine without God. And then they bring out the failure of God. You know that if we create ourselves a little society whereby tinoti haticha interact, haticha dai and all that, because anozvita Mwari asina mbowati wazvita. And then munhu togara tiri muka cage kakadaro, dzimwe dzenguva even what the apostles tried to do, vari muka cage kavo, and then now Mwari obva ati kuna Peter, enda kuJopa kuti kune vanhu vada kunosunungira vada kuzadzwa nesimba remweya mutsveneko. You end up even fighting God. And you end up saying vanhu vari uku havachambofa vakaponeswa, tisi tega kunyange tichaponeswa. But Jesus did not go on the cross for only black people. He did not go on the cross for only Indians, for only colors, or for only white people. But he went on the cross for each and every single human being under the earth. Yes. Because we all need to be saved. Amen. Some of you will go to school and you'll continue further your studies. May God help. I am not saying people should not go to school. I also went to school. But I am saying the schools are there to prove the unfairness of God, which will never exist and which doesn't exist. How God is unfair. That's all. Nosati munhu anoregedza kunamata Mwari achiti Mwari haasi fair. You know, the people I came across, whereby handi vamwe vakazozvisungirira COVID in a household, mumwe vabereki vake vakoma vake vanima, where some will say if it was even my father, he abused me, then wasvika pakufa, and then vandazogara me and uncle, then I was also abused, but then so I didn't know that, then I was abused while I was there. Zvazvokuti unoputsa wangoti I think zvakasiyana. Anokubvunza kuti kana Mwari ariko, ndichitarisa vamwe vanhu kuti havana kuenda, because anti people share their testimony. Oti ini ndakadzikinurwa pakati, iwo gara pasi obva ati zviri nani adzikinurwa, izvi zviri nani, izvi zviri nani, uye adzikinurwa. And then unofunga because anenge achikudza kuti ndiudze kuti pazvaitika zvese izvi Mwari anga ari kupi, because I am innocent. They'll say I am innocent. Hapana pandaka attracta baba wangu, hapana pandaka mumwe ototi kana anga ari mapfekero angu, it was always decent. And then mundiudza nhasi kuti I must wear really decent, but right now when I'm not wearing when I'm wearing something that is not decent, I'm just going to abuse. So how zvinobatsira chii? This is what you don't know what's out. Munhu akanyazosvika pakudaro, but your faith, well, sometimes as leaders you meet people like that, but God has given you enough faith to say nevertheless God can save you. Nevertheless he is fair. Why is he fair? Nokuti nasu wasangana. Amen. Because you've had this question for a long time, but now wasangana na Mwari wacho. Let us now move together. So wasangana naye, and then you tell me after wakumuraramira, but will you still say God is not fair? Amen. You know, I'm saying this to prepare you. You'll meet people. You know, because and this is why I said, even nyama yedu inovenga Jesu ari matiri. To the point wakanzwa munhu achidaro, unoti ita hangu zvaurikuita izvozvo. It's fine, I understand. You find there was a past where aitosvika achiti no, a situation yake yakasiyana kana zvinhu zvokuti Jesu chichi ngatisanyanya yeku nozati munochinja anouya handiti wokuona sometimes wokuona day before service wosvika Mwari okupa message yekutsura mweya wekuhura and all that, and then womona iye akati dzi uchichifunga kuti pamwe nhasi haasi kuuya because they've lost hope mukunamata, but osvikamo achiti zvokunamata ndichikuzi otokuona before the service kuti you know pastor I want to try kuti ndinamate Mwari. Wosvika pepe Mwari achikuti tsura zvinhu zvakadaro akakutarisa kudai unopodza wachinja sermon because of how much the things your eyes see hate God. Amen. How do you know? I'll create a story. And inenge ichibatika ine facts. You know, mnaropa ma dates nima years kuti when ndiri 3 then pandanga nda 12 and then that was in 19 whatever and then ndakaenda kuchikoro, they will give you facts whereby unoya mademon mutamba nemademon. But now uri pakadaro you must stand and say you need to be saved. Amen. And God, he is fair. Amen. Even if I preach zvinhu zvausuwirirana nazvo ndoziva kuti pane chataura mumwoyo mako. Unoona kuramba you know time maybe I found this thing. You know, if you think of the narrow way, let us look at the narrow way. Kuti pane the narrow gate or the narrow road where you know vashoma vanopinda mai. I was saying we will have bigger crusades bigger gatherings and all that. An example I'll give. Until tunoti vanhu vakawanda vakauya crusade. The number was great. Do you know, I think we printed almost 4,000 flyers. 4,000 flyers. Now compare 4,000 flyers to then you look at the attendance versus one wakagamchira Jesu. Also. And then akusi kuti akagara haana kuya achinoda kuponesa. Akatouya achiti ndoda kuponesa. Akatozvinzwa mumwoyo make kuti this is the truth and this is my way to Jesus. Amen. And then apana now where you can stand. This is why we have to believe God is fair and He's a righteous God. This is why now we then say, but akusi kuti we didn't preach correctly, but kuti munhu akawa ne a decision, and we know the way is narrow. Amen. You know, may God help. You can look at it this way, which I once said. One way say, panapa including myself. Tosunga tisi tobva totenda Mwari nokutaura kwavo. Mwari andiponesa pachinhu chekuchiva, as an example. But pavanhu vese vanotaura vangani vanyatsodzikira. Vangani. Because sometimes there's which God made me understand kuti pakanaya. Panaya pacho pari kudiridzwa pamwe panotota. Mumwe even ane mweya wakaipa sei anotobva ipapo achiti handaziva pandanga ndakarasi ezvino ndadzoka kuna Mwari. Mumwe in some cases munhu even akatotukwa naMwari. Do you know that? Ototi I'm now wanting to take a turn in my life. But always know there is a narrow. Amen. This is why we then all say, I need to be saved. Amen. If it were, if it is, I believe it is possible, they can be 100%. But most of the times, just know if out of 100%, sometimes it's only 20%. Amen. But even Zakadar, this is why I always stand and I say, God is fair. Amen. Until I say to you, Kanapani my sermons are wakajam, you must try and listen to them. I know not 100% will do that. But taste it as well. Do you know that? Because it's a narrow. But manje andizotange kufighta manje. Ndichiti you say us now unless God tells me to do that. It's not every time God will say that. Could you make sure you listen to all? And God was very specific. He said, especially from when we started the lockdown. He was very specific. You know, that's all. That's, you know, God is, I can talk about how God is fair the whole day. But semuna anoziva kuti my body constantly fights and says, Mwari haasi fair. Every time when I think, maybe paunuti, but I think, yeah, it's okay. I then say, God, help me see your fairness in this. God is always. This is why sometimes when dambudzika nevanhu haigona kuti ko uyu azodzingirwei uzi azodai wano kune munhu akaipa kupfuura iyeye zvakadai wangofanana engineer. That's what an engineer does. Ndo basa rake iroro rekuti apa Mwari haasi fair ngandipagadzirise inini. That's what engineers most of the times live for. Kuti vangogadzirise Mwari paasiri fair. And they were very brilliant at doing that. You become a great engineer. Where nyika yese inoti hakuna engineer akasvika level iyi because wakwanisa kuprove the unfairness of God. That's why scientists, some of them say they are great scientists. Because basa rao is to prove the unfairness of God. Those are this is why most of them, they then become atheists. Because you I have power to do zakati. Which are the great engineers in our time, or scientists? They are those who are going to Mars. Right now, they are great scientists. They are those who are going to Mars. Robot to Mars, selfie picture, and all that. You know, I think the American one, you try my pictures here everywhere. Then the Chinese one, they have their shika. I think maybe 12 weeks later. And then you mind, you know how the Chinese, it's got the ability to take selfie pictures. And then you try my selfie. That's what I just put on a but I am in Mars. But I have to try my selfie, but I have to mirror to Earth. And all that. And they do that, these are great scientists. But what they are trying to prove is God was not fair. Pakuti akatiisa on earth. Saka ngachizvitsvagire kumwe kukugara. Because Mwari paakatiisa, he was not fair. Amen. You become a great scientist. If you want to become a great scientist or engineer, because every time you always be like, but because even kunzwira kwaunoita vanhu kwakasiyana nekunzwira kunoita Mwari vanhu. Because you're not looking for the spirit to be saved, but you're there to preserve nyama yevanhu. There's a young boy, I think I graduated, I think at 12 or 11. Need degree in physics. Maybe something. And then my mission, they would change my body parts into a machine made. So that at 11, moon arikutaura kuti ndozva ndasundwa nemadhimoni kuti nditi. What more as children of God? Why can't we have people at 11 vachiti inini ndoda kuparidza vhangeri? Why not? Why not? Then for that reason I then say kuti no, we must not just say amwana. Anochinja kuti chirobot chiti mwana. Amen. You know, may God help. Let us look unto Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. You know, I thank God for such a time. We need to be saved. I don't know how I can express this, but we need to be saved. But the little time God has given us in trying to make us understand the gravity, we need to be saved. And so that even Taganzi, we are not educated. We must stand before those warukuti Mwari ako. We must stand before the greatest scientists and tell them what you're saying is nonsense. Let me speak to your spirit. I have icho chinotaura nemweya wako. Yes, you will shanza brain yako. Yes, you can maybe try and convince my brain and all that. But now, Dawuya na Jesus. And we should never be one or not. This is what we need in the world. Never. But we must be one or mira wachit. Hondo iri mmoyo memunhu haiperi. Until the one who can calm the storm, who is Jesus, until we tell him and we say, Jesus, wake up to offer. Then he says, you of little faith, and you say, yes. Where's the right faith there? Because takufa. Amen. Because we need Jesus. You know, it is great. I say it is great because, yes, Daka were educated. Daka learning a lot of things. I passed many subjects, almost I think all of my subjects at A's at university. But out of all that, one thing I could pick out was Nika Ichadi. Where unonyasoona kuti yedzo dzenguva Mwari ndiye akudzi kuti this is what you must do. You must be educated. And then you say to yourself, hapana pazvichandira aseri. And then God will always say, no, but the faith I put in you, it's enough. Kuti even knows the things that I've studied, most of the things I talk about, I'm not someone who continues to pursue my studies, but most of the things I talk about, the things in a class. And the children's in a chakati extra. I know some people train with it, but I must do my best. And then you read on it and all that. So when I remember all these things, I didn't say, dai nas, zimwedzunga zvanenge ndichitaura, ndakaramba Mwari, wamwana waigona kutoti, but imaida kuti azoitas. Kana idzidza zvakati nezvakati. And then people would say, kudzidza kwazo mukanganisa, dai asina kudzidza, dai akaramba ana Mwari. That is nonsense. But Mwari kana ati you must be educated, anoziva kuti he has given you the faith. Kana usina kuwana the opportunity not to be educated, anoziva. He gives you enough faith to still stand before the educated and tell them, I've got something that you don't have. Amen. You know, God needs to help. Amen. We need Jesus more than we will ever know. Amen. You know, it will only be tapinda mushe wa Mwari that we will realize how much we needed Jesus. You know, who we say these are great neuroscientists and all that, but an iota of understanding of who God is. Do you know that? And they drive everything. They drive how we build our houses. They drive how we live in society. They drive our banking sector. They drive how Munu should be successful in life. They drive everything. But at the center, we are these people's gods. That's what they will be. So it is only when now, if we have tanzwira nyasha to that extent, where we see mumwe uchaona munhu waiti dai munhu angari pastor wangu achienda kugehena nevanhu vaakarasa, and you will say, I needed Jesus more than I did. You will do that. Because there's some people who you say they are brilliant, but then we all need Jesus. Whereby tichaona vachienda with flocks of people, with vamwe akatombonamata newe akakuti wadi kuuya uku ndo kwazvinofara kuti urarame upenyu hwakadai and all that, and you shall see them vachienda kugehena, and you will realize how much you needed God, how much you needed Jesus to save. And you shall look at yourself, but still you will remain, and you must stand and you'll say, those who want Jesus, come on my side. Yes. And sometimes achanga ari munhu mumwe chete unongosuri kufungira dzimwe dzenguva asiri iye angachigutsira pawangochitaura, anga akanyarara ari in a very small corner, and achauya from that crowd kuti I want Jesus. Amen. We all need Jesus. Amen. We need Jesus. Hakuna munhu asinganide Jesu muupenyu hwake. Never think that way. And never think that Mwari is not is an unfair God. He is fair. Amen. Because if he was unfair, he wouldn't speak to us. But and even sometimes even hembe that true kupfeka dzakadza nevanhu vakaramba Mwari. Vamwe vakatogadzira mafactory aya tisati tazvaro kuti ifactory yekuramba Mwari, and then isusu tapo dzimwe dzenguva tasangana nacho mubhero uchipfeka woti ndawana chakanaka chekupfeka chekuti ndiende nacho kuchechi. You shall see those designers vachienda kugehena woti inini ndo chandaiti, this is my best attire, and you'll be saying chakandiponesa chi. You will say that. Amen. This is why we then don't say we need to save ourselves. We now no longer will be educated. No, we don't do that. But now we still go by in life. Tichiti, but kana tisina Jesu, denga hatipindi. Amen. Ukafunga the number of fashion designers achaenda kugehena akadesigner hembe dzatinoti, you know, sometimes you look at a suit and you say, suit inonyasoita. You know, on my kuti ndakwenda ku Kenya, know that my rev vanonga vachimhanya mhanya vachiti dai makaenda order yesuti yandiri kutsvagira yauya and all that. Titohopa kuti zveshuwa pamwe zvinoita naniwo futi takaenda takadaro. We'll see when we tamusha uchiona chimunhu chacho chakadesign chichienda kugehena, and you'll be like, chaizotiponesa. Because unonga wakuimagina kuti because mumwe anobva aita onamatira zvinhu zvacho kuti Mwari anga achiti Satani vanhu pavachapfeka kazokunyasonovarasisa, wonyatsofunga kuti every Sunday ndaitakura madhimoni chipinda nawo muchechi. That's what you get. And then you say, chero zvakadaro, but my God said.
Amen.
Because if we become extremists, topedza takuti hatichapfeki, tikufamba tichingoti zviri nani, zvinongogadzwa nehedhini zvese izvi. That's what people say. Because vachangoenda kugehena. You know, that's no dambudziko rine vanhu. Auntie, we are people who read and who study a lot. Unobva reader kuti munhu we-iPhone, and that guy CEO we-iPhone, auntie Ngochani. Maybe some of you don't know. Obva wanyatsoti munhu Ngochani and all that. This is why zvichitoita kunge zvine mweya kuti munhu anoti handikwanise even kubhadhara bhegi kana kupedza chikwereti nokuti ndawana an opportunity yekuwana an iPhone. Anenge akatozvinamatira zvinhu zvezvo kuti kana zvichibvira gazvivatsause vanhu. Now if we look, andinodaro obva wati inini ndangoita zveSamsung enoza onyasoona kuti munhu wacho ane chimwari chaanoramba achiti hazvitoti abude mumba asapfugama kwachiri obuda oenda oti ndane idea yekudesigna manje. That's why sometimes your may God help. Amen. Too much reading without God is useless. But if you read and you study and you have God, you know, I say to someone, IT and I'm reading a lot, and I say study and also pray. Now, why would I say something like that? Because also too much reading, and then you get so absorbed. Conspiracy theories. I can tell you infinite conspiracy, because we study these things in engineering. We master my theories and all that. And then at the end of the day, unopesra wakuti chakata chinokuita chakata chinokuita uyu akaipa boza anokuita chakati uyu arikuita chakati. This is why righteousness comes from God. Amen. Through faith. Amen. Not kuti wapedza mabhuku ese and unyatsoti uyu akamboti zvakati gore rakati uyuwo akato handitine zvemavaccines. There's so many tinozviziva kuti zvinogadzirwa nehedhi. Tinoziva utosvika pakubaiwa and all that unoziva kuti ndabaiwa chinhu chagadzirwa nemhedhi. But what saves is faith in God. And then if God says to you, don't get vaccinated, you then don't get vaccinated because of the faith you have in God. Then if God says whatever, so that you continue preaching, then so be it.
Yes.
I'll give you a perfect example because I was in the same dilemma. Old man was not educated. And he was said, Namwari, kuti, zvawakadanwa uri izvozvo, so you must remain. To the point whereby I started believing kuti being educated, especially going to university and all that, unotorasa Mwari definitely. Old man was told, remain in Maronde. Uparidze uriko kumaronde. And then we all then say, I must then remain in Maronde so that ndoramba ndiri mutsveni. Amen. But urimo unokwanisa kutoenda kugena kana usina kuenda Mwari kwaakudza kuti uende. Amen. Then you find he was a great pastor. You would wait to hear from him. He would wait to hear from him. Where uri pakati pekudaro, he then comes to you and then he says, Philipto, you must go to school and you must be educated. Philipto, you must go around the world and tell the world that Jesus anokwanisa kuwaporesa. And then I think to myself, old man, why are you not doing it? But it's not based on a conviction. Yekuti mweya wangu Mwari ari kutaura mandiri that I must go around and preach, that I must not be educated. But I am looking for righteousness that has come from my own flesh and the standards that are according to my sight and what I see, which I then end up saying, this is then what I believe. But we need Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. You know, God is a mercy. You know, I did one prayer in my life. You must go to school and all that. I then said, why? Wherever I will go, I want one thing I asked for two things. And I said, I am not going to tell him this. You're old. But I want him to come and preach. Where one thing in life. And I want him to want the kids to the airport. Mwari gives you things to pray. You don't want to try ukrenga wachi nomara uze airport but zvigara izvo mari aui. But those I remember it was during a service. Then I called him in the morning and then he was ready. You know, he was always on time. Then I went to school and all that, and then Andati, I want to invite you to come. And then he agreed to come. Do you know when he sent me to Cyprus to preach? And I thought, he didn't preach. In fact, because I was calling him to then at the airport, I thought he was going to give me some inspirational words. And then said, okay, that's what he said. Amen. You know, may God help. Amen. I am trying. Amen. Amen. So we need kuramataka shamira mweya wedu. God, we need you. Amen. This is how much we need God. Amen. Everything she pasipan. Satan atochigadzira kuti chirasimo. Whether COVID, whether imani, everything. The clothes we wear, it's all been initiated. It's all. This is why sometimes vachizomuka kanenge kadhimoni kekuti vanhu varondone pane akomendere nasi zvakatodesignwa that way. If it's especially dzechikadzi dzinotodesignwa that way kuti how do this vanhu vefashion hanti munoiswa mweya yakaipa muwanhu kuti ivo vati ichi ndo chakanaka. This is why munhu akafamba akashama in certain areas. Vanhu vese vamva kuti naso wakafitwa. So because mweya uri kuona wewe uri kunodyidzana the design and zvinhu izvi zviri kutocommunicate kuti kana wazoona design yangu yeye wozotaura kuti chinhu ichi chakanaka.
Amen.
You know, may God help. If you wakambogara pasi and you meditate upon these things, unongoti nai Mwari kumadungo nditora. Like if I live another day, it's another opportunity yemweni kuti andirwise.
Amen.
You know our God is a faithful.
Amen.
So let us continue looking unto Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. And let us call unto Jesus and we say, we need you to save us.
Amen.
Amen. Sata varashumeredzo dzenguva pano